What is up, math superstars? In this edition of Mr. Peterson Presents, I'm bringing to you everything you need to know about the distributive property is what we're going to be talking about in this YouTube edition of Mr. Peterson Presents. So, a formal definition before we get to actually what it looks like. This is when we are multiplying a number by a group of numbers that are added together. And it's actually the same as doing each multiplication separately. So that's our formal definition. Let's see how this works. So what we have is we have 5 times. So when we know there's no sign in between, we know that's multiplication. And then everything in the parentheses is 9 plus 7 plus 4. So if we were going to do the traditional order of operations, we do everything on the inside of the parentheses first. So we did 9 times 7 is 16 plus 4. And then our 5 on the outside. If we're going to follow the steps for the order of operations, 16 plus 4 is 20. And then times 5 gives us a grand total of 100. So we can do this problem one of two ways. The first is using the steps for order of operation. Or the next way we can solve this is by using the distributive property. So the way this works is that we're going to distribute our number 5 on the outside into each one of the numbers on the inside of the parentheses. So what we will do is we'll take 5 and we will now multiply that by 9. And so what we'll do is in parentheses we'll write 5 times 9. And then we're going to bring our operation sign right down in the middle here. And now we're going to distribute 5 into 7, so 5 times 7. And we're going to bring our operation sign down. And then we're going to distribute 5 times 4. And all the distributive property says is that the same answer that we got as 100 using order operations, we should get that here. And so what we're going to do is let's take care of each parenthesis first. So 5 times 9 gives us 45. Bring down our operation sign. And then 5 times 7 is 35. Bring our operation sign down. And then 5 times 4 gives us 20. So when we add these numbers together, 45 plus 35 is 80. Plus 20 will give us 100. And so the distributive property is another way that we could tackle the order operations for this problem. Let's go and take a look at this next problem here. We have 6, and then in parentheses we have 12 minus 3 minus 2. So if we did good old-fashioned order of operations, we did everything in the parentheses first. So we have 9 minus 2.
Maria Abramov.
And that's,
can you come to the main office, please, for a
I'm
message?
obviously doing this in the classroom right now.
Abramov.
Whoever that person is getting paged over the intercom. But as we continue on, 9 minus 2 is 7, times 6 gives us 42 when we did order of operations. But we're also going to experiment with the distributive property. So what we're going to do here is we are going to distribute the 6 into 12 minus 3 minus 2. So the way this is going to look, 6 times 12, so we're going to distribute 6 into 12 first. We're going to bring down our operation signs. We're going to bring down subtraction. And now we're going to distribute the 6 into the 3. So 6 times 3. We're going to bring down our operation sign is subtraction. And then 6 times 2. So now let's go ahead and solve everything that's in each one of these, each one of our groups that we made. So 6 times 12 gives us 72. Minus, we have 18 minus 12. And so we can go ahead and subtract these now. So now as we continue on, we have 72 minus 18 is going to give us 54 minus 12 is going to give us a grand total of 42. So we can see we can do this problem one of two ways. We can use order operations or the distributive property. So for this problem, we have -6, and -6 is a number we are going to distribute into 7 minus 11. So let's go ahead now. We're just going to use the distributive property, and we're going to also use some of the things that we know about integer operations to solve this problem. So here we have -6 times 7. So let's go ahead and write that out. -6 times 7. We're going to bring our operation sign down as subtraction, and then we're going to have -6 times 11. So now let's go and solve for what's in each of the parentheses here. So we have -6 times 7 is -42 minus, and then we have -6 times 11 is -66. So now we need to subtract these numbers here. So we have -42 minus -66. We know that when we do subtraction, it's also the same thing as adding the opposite here. So now we have 66 minus 42. That's going to give us an answer of 24. So if you got 24 as an answer, you did the distributive property properly. So now let's go ahead and take a look at what the distributive property looks like with variables. So our variables here are just the letters that represent an unknown value. And so let's go ahead and solve for this problem here. So before we start the distributive property, let's talk about the variables here. So just as a quick refresher, if you did not know, so when we have 3a here, we have 3a. That actually says 3 times a. So we're just trying to figure out what that missing number is. But for this, we don't know what the missing number is because we're not dealing with an equation here, or we're not given the values for A, B, and C. So these are just unknown values, but when we have 3A, it actually represents 3 times A. So it's not, when we fill in A, it's not the ones place and 3 is in the tens place. It's not that, it is 3 times A. So let's go and try the distributive property with variables. So just like we did with numbers, let's go and distribute the 5 into each one of these in the parentheses. So we have our first parenthesis here, we have 5 times 3a. Bring down our operation sign. Now we have 5 times 2b. Bring down our operation sign, and now we have 5 times 4c. So let's go now and solve for what's in each one of these parentheses here. So we have 5 times 3a. So we do 5 times 3 is 15, and we bring down our variable since we don't know that yet. We bring our operation sign down, and now we have our next parenthesis. We have 5 times 2b. So we do 5 times 2 is 10. Bring down our variable because we don't know what that is yet. And then we bring down our addition sign, and we are so close to being finished here. So we have 5 times 4 is 20. Bring down our variable. And so here we're left with 15a plus 10b plus 20c. And so in this right now, we can leave this exactly the way it is because we do not have to add these together because we actually have different variables. We're not sure what that is yet, what those variables are. So we're just going to leave it as 15a plus 10b plus 20c. So now let's try this one. We have -5. We're going to distribute into 4x plus 3y minus 2z. So let's go ahead and work this distributive property here. So we have -5 times 4x. So let's go ahead and put that in parentheses. -5 times 4x is our variable. Plus, we have -5 times 3y. And we have minus -5 times 2z. So let's go ahead now and multiply these in each one of the parentheses here. So we have -5 times 4x. So -5 times 4 is -20. Bring down our exponents. And now let's keep going with our operation as addition. So now we have -5 times 3 is -15, and we're going to bring the y down, bring down subtraction, and we have -5 times 2z, so we know that's negative 10z. And so we can leave it just like this, or what we can do is we can change our subtraction sign to addition, and negative 10z, we can make that positive 10z. So we can know our final answer is negative 20x plus negative 15y plus a 10z. So that's how we use the distributive property using variables, and you will rock this and be math superstars with it.